so mad. I can't believe I did that. Sort of like against type and against my personality. But you know, when Rihanna calls, you've got to say yeah, haven't you?
Yeah, 100%.
Welcome to Before the Lights. If you're new here, we're a team of health professionals based in London who train people from all over the creative world to get ready for TV, film, even live shows, but most importantly, for everyday life. I'm Dave Hasty.
I'm George Ashwell.
I'm Georgia Canavan.
And I'm Josh Betteridge.
We've been lucky enough to build a pretty special group of members here at the club, so we thought it would be nice for other people to get to know some of them as well as we do.
I was like, I think I need to start going to the gym. So I literally got out my laptop, and was like, PT's for actors.
Welcome to Before the Lights podcast, guys. I'm Greg James. With me over here is Dangerous Dave, and here is Evil George. And today we're talking grind set.
Grind set?
It's not about mindset, guys. It's about grind set.
It was the very first time I met you when you came in and you actually had to run off and be sick in the toilet.
You feel quite vulnerable when you're kind of lying on your back with your legs up in the air because you feel sick, just breathing, and I'm like, this never happens. I'm so sorry.
So sit back, only do some exercise if you want to, and maybe even learn something about how to look after yourself. We're back,
We are back.
and welcome back to our guest today, Olivia Cooke.
Thank you for having me.
And the true fans will know that she is, or was, and is the second ever episode that we released of the Before the Lights podcast,
Yeah.
which seems like a lifetime ago.
Oh, how far we've come.
You've come a long way. We all have.
I think I've regressed.
No.
When we recorded the podcast the last time around, we were sat around a tiny little coffee table in the middle of our first gym.
Yeah, and I was dripping with sweat, and I just finished a workout, and we were just sat amongst the debris of the workout that we'd just done.
Things must have changed a little bit since those days. I think the first time we spoke was in the build-up to House of the Dragon coming out. So that was when you kind of joined.
I'd been there a
Before the
year,
Lights
hadn't
family.
I?
Yeah,
with
yeah.
you guys.
And then that's kind of hit the world. And how's that been in general for you? Has that been a massive shift for things, or has it been quite a smooth process?
You know what? It's been all right. I think when the show's on, there's an uptick of like people recognising me and people stopping me in the street. But then, you know, all our memories are so short these days that once I'm out of the zeitgeist, I'm sort of fine and I just live my life normally. So there's a few like acute weeks where like I can't go on the tube, but it's fine. It's so fine. And everyone normally is quite nice. It's just, you know, the internet is a cesspool, so I just got to stay off there. But yeah, no, it's been fine, and I really, you know, love the people that I work with, and it's a gorgeous thing to come back to every other year. I feel very lucky to do a job like that. It's wild. It's very different to sort of start a series in a very intense 10-month period, and then you've got like a year and a half off, and you get to go off and do other things, and it's the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
I remember with the original game, because it's quite funny, because we basically finished with the original Game of Thrones lot, and then we started training you for this.
Yeah.
So I remember the similar thing of, they were like, yeah, it's like going back home. And with a lot of actors, they go back and do a new show. It's a constant new show, but when you get something that's recurring, it must really feel like each season you're just kind of...
Did they have the same time off as well?
I think it was shorter, but they still
Okay.
had like chunks off, yeah. But
Yeah.
you've got like a decent chunk off.
A year and a half off. It's
Yeah.
lovely. I mean, I will be 54 by the time it finishes, but it's great.
I think the highlight for me was when the premiere at the Odeon for that first episode,
Oh yeah.
hanging out with your mum and your sister.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
That was great fun.
My mum and sister getting absolutely rat-arsed as well, because it was like it was pre-pandemic, like it was still quite early on, 2022, and I think that felt like the first big premiere and big party where you didn't have to like test or do anything like that. And you know, I think we all just sent it. My mum was like midnight at the Chiltern Firehouse, falling asleep with a chicken tender in her hand and a drink in her other hand. I was like, Mum, you're embarrassing me, get to bed. And she was like, no, I'm having fun.
You've just brought back like a flashback. I remember standing outside, I think it was one of the Soho houses, and people were like, right, we're going there. And I was like, I do have to be in the gym to train someone at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And making a decision to just walk off down the road.
Yeah, follow the
I don't even know if I
road.
said goodbye. I was just like, no, don't get sucked into this.
I
Just
know,
leave.
because it was a late one.
I definitely napped.
Did you?
on the massage bed.
The next day. I love
2-hour
that.
nap.
But it's important. Like, you've done a lot of work in the build up to that coming out, and it was more training for feeling kind of strong and healthy and confident, and then you have that night to celebrate it.
Yeah.
And it's fun for us to be part of that and see it all the way through in that respect. But also, it's like it's
Yeah.
important to kind of have those moments where you celebrate something that you've done and you have a few too many drinks with your mum.
Oh
you know?
god, yeah, I really let loose, let my hair down. It was fab. And also, you know, yeah, you're right. I wasn't training for anything particular in that moment. I was just wanting to feel good. And
Mhm.
no, I'm lying because I had the Savage Fenty thing.
Yeah, we were on a mission.
that was doing it. So I was on a mission to look lovely and fabulous and feel good on the day. So no, we were training for that, and I just wanted to. What do I want to feel like? I don't know. I felt like I wanted to just feel like, I don't know. This isn't a word, like
Yeah,
you
yeah. Was there any direction from
them.
the brand in that sense or not?
No,
'Cause
they were just
obviously,
sort
like
of-
you've been appointed like the person for that shoot or
Yeah.
whatever. You've been hired for that job, and it's kind of like,
No, it was just like come as you are,
yeah, that's
which
great.
is so great.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, they didn't know what I looked like in underwear. So no, it was, you know, I think a shock to us all.
I mean,
Um,
that shoot was insane. It was
yeah.
so cool.
So mad. I can't believe I did that. Sort of like against type and against my personality. But you know, when Rihanna calls,
Yeah.
Did she literally call?
Yeah.
no, I
Oh.
wish. No. But you've got to say yeah, haven't you?
Yeah, 100%.
When the pictures actually came out for this Fenty,
Yeah.
how did you feel about all of? Because obviously it's like, as you said, it's against type, it's against character.
Well, I was sort of deathly ill on the day with the flu,
Okay.
so I was up to my eyeballs in codeine. So I sort of just wasn't. I was really scared that the pictures were going to come out and there was like sort of going to be like a deadness behind the eye. So I was happy that there was some sort of like presence there, and some sort of spark. But yeah, I was really happy. I was sort of like, fucking hell, is that? It doesn't look like me in a good way. And I just can't believe I had the confidence and the gall
Yeah.
to do something like that.
Was that the strongest you felt? Because we were training.
Yeah.
hard.
No, I felt. Yeah, I was strong. I felt
Mhm.
strong. Yeah. Yeah, I was the strongest girl in the gym.
Yeah.
That point. My title that I will get back. But yeah, I felt really good, and also the women there that were behind the camera, they were absolute hype men. They were just screaming at me all these like, you know, amazing compliments, and I felt
That's what you want.
like my wedding day. It was great.
What was the song you requested or the music?
I think it was Kylie and J-Lo, Waiting for Tonight.
What is this that they play it whilst the shoot's going on?
Yeah, it's like a club.
Oh,
Yeah, they
that's
had
cool.
a DJ.
I guess then that kind of it creates
They had a
an
DJ on the
atmosphere
decks.
for it.
Yeah.
The DJ's not in the pictures.
No, not in the pictures.
Yeah,
But he's
yeah.
like to the side of the set.
Do you reckon
Gives
that
an
makes
energy.
it? I suppose it makes a huge difference. I'd never thought about that before because obviously standing there in your pants is quite a confronting thing.
Yeah.
So being able to choose a song that you know that you'll like and have people around you that are fun, it's going to make it a lot more comfortable, isn't
The
it?
worst bit was my manager, who I've known since I was 18. We used to live together in LA, and then and we were really, really good friends. He was my agent at the time's assistant, and so we would always hang out, and he'd get me into clubs when I was 19. And then he became a manager, and I was like, take me with you. So we've had all this, like, you know, this span of career. Like, my whole career has been with him, basically. And so he was there, and I'm just doing a pose and then catching Josh's eye and being like, oh my God, oh God.
Don't look at me.
Don't look at me, because he's my brother. He's my brother.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
him being like, fucking, he was like, you know, you look amazing, but it pains me to say.
Yeah, it's a different thing to have to experience when it's like a mate like that.
I
isn't it?
know. I was like, turn around.
How did your family react to it? Were they all quite excited about it?
My mum practically wanted to hang them in her house. I was like, please don't. Please don't do
It's
that.
like a graduation photo.
Feel
Like
very
you're holding it.
different.
Yeah. Dad's never mentioned it. Not surprised. But my mum loves them. Probably showing Karen
What you
down
would
the
do
pub.
with you if it was your child? You'd
I
be
would,
well proud.
I would just love it if your dad, I don't know if he uses Instagram, but his explore page is obviously probably quite full of you because
sure,
of,
yeah.
So then that day, his explore page is just full of you in underwear.
I know.
He just throws his phone across the room. Nope, not looking at it.
I know. It's an odd one, isn't it? But they were like, it's like, the Calvin Klein ads and stuff. It felt really, it didn't feel gratuitous. It didn't feel, I didn't feel ever overly exposed. I felt like really empowered and, I think the photos are cool and what an amazing thing to have at 80.
Yeah,
totally.
100%.
100%.
Show your grandkids that one.
Put it out. Get those, Nan's got the photo
Look at
album
your
out
nan.
again.
I feel like grandkids is fine. I feel like showing your kids would be weird, but showing your
Yeah,
grandkids, it's
grandkids,
like you're
that's
already
fine.
out.
Yeah,
of it.
grandkids is fun.
Yeah, I think it's
They'll be
fine.
like, you did
They'd be
what?
like, yeah.
And then I have a question for you, because you've kind of grown up on screen. Like, you've been acting since you were
18.
18. So
Yeah.
how is this is a big question,
Yeah.
your sort of body image with yourself,
Oh, God.
grown as you've grown?
I definitely have a more healthy body image now.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't very fit when I didn't exercise at all people are so fitness minded and so like health orientated now. But when I was 18 to 23, I'd go to the odd yoga class and go on a big walk and feel depressed and wonder why I was so sad. And that was that was it. That was my my sort of outlook on fitness and health. I just didn't have any education when it came to that.
I feel like it was
Yeah,
different then,
changed.
wasn't it? It was more if you were doing a sport or you had entered into like a 10k run or something.
Yeah.
You'd train for things like that, but there wasn't the same kind of social element to it as there is now.
Mm.
Like things like
Or accessibility,
like
it's
the
definitely-
classes and all that kind of stuff that now
Mm.
it's quite common to be like ring a friend and say, do you want to grab a coffee and do a class on a Saturday morning? That just didn't exist, did it?
No.
No.
And I was lucky enough to be in Vancouver, which is such a yoga sort of holistic city. And so I would go and do, but you're not getting the same type of cardiovascular fitness there. And I think my metabolism has always been pretty quick. So what I struggled with was when I would be in Vancouver on my own and feeling really anxious, and then I'd sort of forget to eat, and then I would I'd come back home and my mum would look at me and I was like Skeletor. And so that was my sort of journey into sort of looking after myself and realising what happens to my body when it's put under stress and when my mood is low. And sort of learning that on my own and also just in real time as it's all happening, if that makes sense. And it was only when I started to come to the gym more and knew then how to sort of feed my body after working out and listening to what it felt like it needed, did I realise that, I really have more of a healthy perspective on
Did we ever do the WhatsApp food diary with you? I can't remember now. So a lot of the time that's how kind of we'll monitor and advise people, because it's a lot simpler and it's a lot more manageable rather than being like, right, you've got to eat exactly these things and track exactly these calories. We just kind of go take a few photos of what your kind of normal week is and we can get a sense of what you tend to
I
eat
should
and
do that.
don't eat. I mean,
It's
we
really
do it with
helpful,
everyone, yeah.
just a little
yeah, because I always feel like, I've got a good sort of picture in my mind of what I eat in a week, but then there's always hidden bits, or then I've been to the gym and I've only eaten scrambled eggs and then I have dinner, which is not enough. So yeah.
Well, it's in, I know we've spoken about it in previous episodes with Nigel Slater. He writes down everything he eats just out of a habit of just a food diary, yeah. But it's really useful because then he can look back and sort of say, I felt knackered on this day and I know that I had that and I did this, and it's like you can draw a line between the two things, whereas most people you just forget as soon as it's happened. But I think when we've done it with the WhatsApp food diary, whether it's for helping someone kind of feel more energetic or understanding what they want to achieve in the gym, if they want to put on muscle, helping them to structure their food around that, or even with people like they go on a press tour or something like that, where it's take photos of what you've had for the first few days, and then you know that you're going to have certain things will repeat, and the amount of time you have to actually think about that stuff is
so
less
hard
and less.
to eat on a press tour. It's so hard
Yeah.
to eat well. On
That's
a
something
press
I was
tour.
wondering about, because obviously the Game of Thrones, it's such a big franchise, really, isn't it? That then when House of the Dragon came out, it's like a film premiere, isn't it, in various cities? You kind of toured around with it a bit.
Yeah,
and
we
was
did.
that, had you done something on that scale before?
Yeah, I'd done a film called Ready Player One, directed by Steven Spielberg. I always feel embarrassed saying that. Like, this is a massive name that I'm about to drop.
Yeah.
So we'd gone to, we premiered at Austin Film Festival, and then we had a premiere in LA, London, and Tokyo. So that was amazing. But it'd been a few years since I'd done a big press tour like that.
And for people like listening, I guess most people don't understand. You see you guys kind of go stand there outside the cinema screen, have a few photos and all that kind of stuff. But it's pretty relentless, isn't it, when it comes down to those things on that scale as well?
You're sort of in a room for days on end for 12 hours a day, being asked the same question over and over, which doesn't sound that terrible, but it does become some sort of mental torture when you're there being like, what's your favourite dragon? And I was like, I can't remember any of the names in the show, so don't ask me about a dragon. I don't know.
The big one.
The gold one.
I know what you mean though, because if I've been on a holiday or something, and then the third person that asks you oh, how was it? I'm already at that stage oh.
Yeah, I've been back a week now. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Whereas that's going to be X amount of time. How long did you have to go for that press tour? Was it a couple of months or so?
The first one I think was a month, and then the second one was 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So this time round, it felt really.
They condensed it for you.
Yeah, it felt doable, and also it was lucky because Emma was doing a play and Matt wasn't getting released from his filming schedule, so they did sort of have to condense it, which was great.
They didn't just make you do all of it.
No. Imagine that everyone's sick of seeing my face in it anyway.
No.
Did you have little things that you can do in that space of time when you're traveling that are kind of helping you maintain a sense of normality or a sense of routine?
No, I should get one. Whenever there's a gym in the hotel, I will always go down and even if I can just do 30 minutes, I'll do that. Or we stayed, when it was a London premiere, we were at the Corinthia, so I went down and saunaed and
didn't use the gym because
steamed
the
and
bar is
grounded.
amazing.
I know, I was just like, I've got literally 1 hour, what do I want to do? And I was like, I'm going to go into the
but
sauna.
even those little things, it's all
as
Yeah,
important.
kind of well-being and looking after yourself. It's having
Yeah.
that mental refresher, isn't
I
it?
felt incredible, especially because we've been flying around so much, and I was like, I do feel sort of earthbound now,
Grounded.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Does a sauna ground you?
It's calms your central nervous system down.
Oh, okay. So
And
yeah.
a good sweat's always good, right?
It's
Yeah,
also
just
getting
time,
out the
time without your
toxins.
phone,
Breathing.
sitting by yourself, being in your own thoughts.
Yeah, you're so aware. You're so in the moment, aren't you? Because you can feel your body pulsing, and that's sort of like a almost meditative, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Like a what are those?
Yeah, the
Oh,
balls.
the clicky balls.
The clicky ball things. Yeah.
Newton's
Have you tried the
cradle.
ice bath
No.
yet?
No, I keep forgetting my bathing suit.
bathers,
Yeah,
yeah.
I keep forgetting it.
We should just buy some like.
Yeah,
stock
we need
some.
to get some
Yeah.
on standby.
But yeah,
So I
those
really want to, because I love an ice bath.
get you in there.
Yeah.
Well, you know where it is.
I
You
know.
can just come in whenever you like.
I know.
We were going to just move the whole podcast there, so one of us would be in the ice bath and you'd be in the ice bath, and we'd talk. But Kevin Hart already did it, so
Did he?
Yeah.
For how long?
I don't know. I saw this podcast where he's interviewing people in the ice bath, which I think's mental.
You
Because
shouldn't
That's
do that.
crazy.
It is a good way of making people stay in longer, because if you distract yourself, I've had it where if someone starts talking to, normally I'll make it to maybe 2 minutes,
Yeah.
but then if someone starts asking you things and you completely forget, like you were saying, it's like when you're in the sauna and all you're thinking about is oh, I'm very warm. It's like as soon as you're not ultra focused on it, your body can actually deal with all that stuff a lot better.
How deep do you go in? Because you're supposed to get the vagus nerve, aren't
In the
you?
back of
to
it,
your
yeah.
neck.
Just leave the nose out of water.
Do you?
So just to maintain breathing.
Snout out.
I tend to dunk on the way in and then dunk on the way out, and the rest of the time it's
Yeah.
shoulders.
I kind of grip for dear life.
I know, because the
I'm too
hands
small.
that kill when you're in.
Yeah. All the one.
There.
Yeah, I'm literally
exactly
like
that.
double chins.
I think we should get like a snorkel, so you can go under and just see how long.
Yeah.
Just sounds like brain freeze. That
Yeah, it
doesn't
does. Yeah.
Who's gone in for the longest in the gym so far?
I don't know if we timed it. He does it.
Chase
Chase.
Utley, without a doubt.
Yeah.
He's a
who-
specimen, though.
Well,
isn't he?
because it's
He
like
is.
his everyday. When we spoke to him on the podcast, and it's his kind of routine of recovery as an athlete. For those who don't know, he's a retired baseball player, and it's like with any high-level sports person, there is a preset routine of this is what you do on this day, this day, this day, this day, and quite often there's time sort of portioned out for cold water therapies, treatments, all that kind of stuff. So it's just what you're used to.
Yeah, and when your body is your tool as well, you've sort of got to keep it in good nick,
Yeah.
haven't you?
But that's the kind of conversation that we've had with a lot of people in obviously our sort of lane of work is in the creative industry now, and it's the same rules apply to people in your position to a certain extent, whereby it's like, as an actor, you need your body to be able to do the things that you require of it when you need it to, and that you kind of touched on it with the Fenty shoot where you weren't feeling your best, but you managed to kind of get through and felt good enough to do it. And it's like, I think with exercise and understanding diet and recovery and that stuff, even when you have those moments when you're not feeling 100%, you know that you can rely on yourself a little bit, whereas probably without that regular exposure to some sort of fitness and health based stuff, it'd probably be a bit more difficult.
Yeah, I just had to do loads of stunts on the last job that I was on, and I couldn't train during it because I was in every single day for 5 weeks, and it was night shoots. And I did train. I trained a few times
You
in the
popped in
gym.
and out
You
just
did
a
pop
couple
in,
of
yeah.
times, but
Yeah.
definitely nowhere near what your kind of normal.
No, but I think because I had that
amount would
base
be.
layer of fitness, I was so that I avoided injury and I felt so capable and so fit to go and go and go. But yeah, without that, I would have been, because it was so relentless and so demanding. And I mean, there was one day 2 weeks ago where I had to run and sprint. And when was the last time you sprinted?
We talk about that quite regularly, actually. Like, how often do you go full 100%?
And I was going 100% because
Yeah.
the actor next to me, who is twice my size, was like, "Can you go any faster?" And I was like, "I'm trying my best." So, and it was 2 a.m, and we're sprinting across this field, so it's uneven ground anyway. And I'm in hiking boots, sprinting, and I just felt halfway through, snap, both my thighs just go, "Nope." And then we stopped, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Because I'd been stood for so long in the
Yeah.
cold.
You always got to warm up.
And I
We've taught you
did.
that.
I know. I did. I was warming up, but it just wasn't enough. It was one of those really cold nights.
Yeah.
And then, God, I felt so embarrassed. That just on one 400-meter sprint, I
You say that
snap.
that's a lot. That's
That's
a
a
lot of
long
effort,
one, yeah.
especially when
200 meter.
you have to 20 minutes.
Exaggerating already.
When you have to repeat those things, it's like most adults aren't ever gonna run flat out,
Yeah.
and equally there's elements to it there that you're in a field in hiking boots. It's all the things that you probably wouldn't. I imagine it's some sort of scene where you're either chasing someone or being chased. Is it?
Being chased.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
doesn't tend to happen day to day.
No, to be fair. And my quads were in bits for a week, and I'd never felt that before. It was pure. I'll get your PT, your physical therapist, eye on it, but from hip to knee, it was so sore
Yeah,
from a sprint.
yeah. A bit of hip flexion,
Yeah,
it'll get you.
I know, but yeah, without that baseline training, I think I would have done a lot of damage, and just not been able to recover as quickly.
Well, we've literally been called out to sets when that has happened, and people have been like, "We've got a day," because often with films, things are so kind of strictly laid out in terms of this scene on this day, and then it costs a lot of money to go over and people's time and everything. So it's like, we need to get this done.
Yeah.
And
How
we've
can I
had
make this person walk
days
again,
where
basically?
we've gone out and essentially it kind of comes back to how we got started in sport, where it's a performance window, and you've got to get that person able to do a particular thing, if it's running across a field or jumping through a window or whatever it might be. Without they can't finish the job, basically.
I know, which makes you feel a bit like cattle sometimes, because you're just like, oh, okay, you're not actually asking for the good of my health. You're literally, because you're about to lose 100 grand, from this day that we're about to lose, which, fair, but also I love a bit of, TLC.
Yeah. Have you noticed in your time working on set, has things changed in terms of like, are there things that are put in place now for people to feel maybe safer, but also to help, like, from a food side of things or from a recovery side of things, because the workload's crazy sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, no, there is, especially on the job that I just finished on Friday. There was this amazing masseuse, Ruth, that was called out to us a few times, and that was great and really needed. And yeah, the catering was really good, and you could ask for cleaner options if you didn't want what was on the menu already, just like chicken and rice and vegetables, or salmon and rice and vegetables. So yeah, they do make sure, especially on that job, it was really lovely. They really did make sure that everyone was catered for and feeling their best, and from a genuine place of care as well. But sometimes, budget doesn't allow, and it's a bit more ramshackle or a bit more, dodgily ran, so you don't feel that you're looked after as much. But that's when, I sort of come out. It was like, you also need to be able to look after yourself. You can't be an absolute big baby walking onto set and handing yourself over and just making, feeling like you have to be.
I think that's where there's having those little, like, non-negotiable parts of someone's routine can be really important. Whether it is just sort of waking up 10 minutes early to practice a bit of mindfulness, or scheduling in a bit of time to just go for a walk, or something really simple and also low cost. When these things can apply to anybody, can't they? Where, like, cost is a barrier for a lot of people, if it's food, if it's gym memberships, but there's definitely little things, routines that you can do to have a stretch, whether you're in your trailer or at home or whatever, that are just going to be positive actions.
Yeah. Or like cold water swimming, or a cold shower in the morning. I think just all these things just to live longer and feel better.
I also think with that stuff, it's having that control, right? It's like you're choosing to do this, like cold water swimming, that kind of, or like having a cold shower in the morning. It's like, it's partly has its health benefits, but it's partly psychologically you're just going, no, this I'm doing, I've chosen to do this, and it's like that is almost as important. Like, it's like going to the gym. Like, half the time it's like, go to the gym, even if it's for 10 minutes. It's like you've chosen, like, the health benefits are quite minimal, but you have health, but it's more the mental benefit of, I did that for me, and therefore I'm going to keep looking after myself. It's like,
sense of achievement.
It's like setting a pact with yourself, being like, let's do this together.
Yeah, I'm a number
me and my
one
body.
fan.
Yeah.
It's like I work in gym and I still have to go and do gym classes outside of the gym, so that it's, like you just said, just all
so
for
you
me.
can separate it as well.
Yeah, no one knows that I'm in the industry. Like, I love it.
Have you found it hard now that you've got this business, which is, huge and like more of a workload than you're used to in your prior places? Have you found that it's been harder for you guys to look after yourself?
I feel like I train more here than I did in the old place, because there's more space and I can get here early and I can just get on with it. But for sure, there's definitely more hours being put in now, and like things like now we're adding this back into the fray as well. There's going to be more hours used, but I think it's such a nice place to be. It's like the previous gym which we recorded our podcast in was just a small gym, and it's like you don't choose to go there first thing in the morning early to train, whereas here it's like I can come here early, there's places I can work, there's places I can go in the sauna, ice bath, I can train, so it's like it calls you in, it makes you like, we feel like members of this place as well.
Yeah,
it's a lifestyle.
It's life
it's definitely changed my life for the better, just because it's like you just said, you've got access to everything, and there's also that community. So I love jumping into the classes here because I like to do socializing with my training, so it's definitely hard work, but then you get the rest of it as well, so it's all kind of balances itself out.
Obviously, like, outside of your professional life, you've had a lot going on in terms of, like, you've renovated a whole house.
Yes.
Which is a mental stress. It's something that George has been through, that I've done.
We started around the same time,
extent.
Yeah, we did.
Is that, like, exercise, I think, becomes a huge, like,
just to get out of the house.
Because
out of the dust.
how was that for you, that experience?
Well, you're sort of just lied to every part of the process, and you think, oh, well, it'll be done in 4 months, and then like no 6 months, and then they say, oh, the materials haven't come through, and you're like, why? And they go summer, and you're like, what? The season that comes around every year? They're like, yeah, sorry, and you're like, what is going on? And so a 4-month timeline becomes an 11-month, hellscape.
Yeah.
And your budget is tripled, quadrupled, and you're like, I'm never gonna get into this fucking house. But then you do, and you're like, oh my god, this is the most amazing thing I've ever done. I can't believe it.
Like, you forget very quickly how, like, I was at one point living with, my kitchen was a trestle table with an air fryer on it, and the whole of my downstairs was just plaster and dust. And I think I lived in that for like 3 months.
You were in a bad way.
Yeah. But also as soon as the kitchen went in, completely forgot about it.
I know.
Totally done.
I think there's something like in human DNA that makes you forget those things. Like the thing I always think about, it's like when you go into Glastonbury or something and you have the worst time getting in, you're carrying all your stuff, and the second you put your bag down, you're like, I'd do that again in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
It's not right now. Don't make me do it right now. But yes, I would do it again.
Yeah, I'm already thinking about,
the next one.
It's kind of. But no, coming to the gym was a nice offload. And also, as I was doing that, I was shooting the second season of House of the Dragon, and there was going to be some thing in it. So I was training for that as well, just to feel. I mean, it was vain. It was a vain prospect, actually, me training for a sex
But it's a confidence thing, isn't it? Like, it seems to be there's like it's a big element of your work, and it's something that you want to go into feeling in control of, and that you're ready for it and kind of in a good position for.
Yeah, and I just wanted to feel confident. And the scene got cut out anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I think I think it's less about you thinking how you look on camera and more thinking about how you feel on the day. For most people, I'd imagine it's like, I'm not worried. Like whatever comes out in the end product is like here nor there, but you're physically going to have to do that. You're physically going to have to enter a room with a bunch of people, take all your kit off, then be very close to another person, and it's like that is obviously going to feel better if you're feeling more confident about how you look.
Yeah, let's just try and mitigate the embarrassment as much as possible.
Well, they have intimacy coordinators now as another thing that they've added along with healthy food, and it's a new thing. Well,
some are better than others.
Yes, I've heard.
I just worked with a great one actually called Jen Odell, who was fab, who just made it really fun and joyous, because I think sometimes I've looked at a sex scene as you're going in and it's taking a piece of you, which it shouldn't. It all should just feel in keeping with the story, and you shouldn't have to sacrifice a part of yourself because of this element of your work. And sometimes I have felt like chunks have been taken out, and she just makes it really wonderful and lovely and in keeping with the story, and it's not about what you're bargaining off in terms of, well, you can show, side boob and intergluteal cleft, and that is it.
These are the kind of conversations that literally do take place.
Yeah. And like really alienating language as well.
And I guess then if you're slightly, if you're removed from that situation, it becomes a hell of a lot more comfortable. It's having someone there to help navigate it, because that a lot of people wouldn't know necessarily what a intimate is.
Yeah, who's just on your who's just on your side as well, who can go up to the director or the spark and just be like, the lighting just seems a bit too bright and a bit too harsh. Do you mind if we just soften the lighting a bit?
And would you have
know that stuff, right? Yeah. They're so used to that environment, so they know all the little things that you can change.
Yeah.
Would you have like side meetings with that person and they sort of check in with how you feel, and you would give feedback, and then they'll kind of go off and address all the other things?
Yeah, so you'll have a conversation with her about what you're comfortable with. Then she'll have a conversation with the person in the scene with you. So they're looked after as well. And then she'll come back and she'll be like, well, they're comfortable with this, but not that. Great. And then she will go and relay that to the director. And then you sign a rider, an intimacy rider. And so they're legally bound by this piece of paper to not show certain elements of your body that you're comfortable with. It is so odd talking about yourself like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
bet.
sure.
Because then you do start to. It's a really tricky thing to not then sort of hyper fixate on different parts of your body that you're comfortable with and you're not, and then
Absolutely, yeah.
sort of self-analyze, like, well, why am I not comfortable with that? Is it because why can't I show this? And what would happen if I did show this? And why do you think it's so bad? And you just go round and round, and it's fine to just be like, if I feel like, if there's even just an uptick or like a lurch in my gut from the hypothetical showing of certain body part, then just don't don't do it.
It's important to have that kind of strength of characters to describe it, I guess, is something that then you can rely on your own opinion is really important in those moments, because it's not just that hour or however long it shoots. It's a film, it's a TV show, it's there.
Yeah.
You don't know how you'll feel about something in a year or 2 years' time, but once it's done, isn't it?
And for me, it feels job specific as well. Like, if I feel incredibly safe with a director and it feels like this is needed, then fine, whatever. I'll show my bum hole. No, I'm kidding. Just my nudity writer. Nothing but bum hole.
They'd use the specific term.
Yeah. It's a long lens.
Yeah.
But if it's a job where I don't particularly feel as that they've got my best interest and it feels a bit more salacious, then I will make sure that rider is pretty much ironclad.
It's good to hear that you've had a really positive relationship with the intimacy coordinator as well. I know the client I won't name, and the intimacy coordinator I don't know the name of anyway, so it's fine. But I did hear a story the other day of an intimacy coordinator entering a trailer to talk about the scene, and I don't know if it was a she or a he, but they got on their back and started imitating the scene for the actor and saying, so they're going to be like this, and in their words, they were on the floor with their legs akimbo like they're in stirrups, and they were like thrusting backwards and forwards, and and they were like, yeah, I just feel uncomfortable more now than I will in the scene anyway.
This is the thing, because it's like it's such a new.
You don't learn it. There's no degree for it. There's no.
And so I think productions feel like they need to cover their backs a lot more, so they'll just get someone in.
Well, normally they're like, it was like COVID operators. Normally they're health and safety people that have, or they're, because they can come from two ways. Because if they were like an acting coach or someone coming from that lens, then that works. Whereas if they're from like a more kind of safety or more kind of other, I can see how that wouldn't blend.
I feel strongly that directors should go through an intimacy coordinating course, so they have the language and the tools to talk to us, because you trust your director and that's who you look up to, and ultimately you do want to be, I mean, I think it's very personal, but I want to be directed by my director and not have to offshoot to other
absolutely
people.
I guess it's like any kind of role as a manager, having more understanding of other positions is always important to help something be as good as it can be. And there's no difference, I guess, if you're a director in that sense, because you're in charge of a lot of things there, and knowing about what happens if this changes or this changes, which I'm sure they will do anyway, but knowing about it is going to only be a positive thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
All of you guys are human beings, and I feel like people just perceive people as they're like polished and perfect, but obviously there's some humour in there somewhere, and there's lots of times when people have felt a lot more human. What made you feel human or humbled you in a Hollywood situation?
Okay, well, mine came actually quite recently in this gym, and I'd sprained my ankle like days before, and it was awful, and it was huge. It was so fat and disgusting.
That. And I don't remember that, but I remember it. I remember you spraining it.
And I came in, and I think the day before I just binged one day, and so I had a very brief but potent obsession with Leo Woodall. And I walk in.
I think most of the country did.
Yeah. And I walk in and he's fucking there training. I was like, for God's sake, it's like Guess Who, Celebrity Guess Who in this gym. and you, and it was you, it was both of you. I think I was training with you, Georgia, but it was both of you being like, let's have a look, get it out, and I'm already so embarrassed about my feet anyway, and so like and I don't want to show it in front of Leo, who's like just doing some, I don't know, thrusts, and I like peel my sock off, and my foot looks even worse than this morning. It looks like it's just been pulled out the Thames, and and everyone's crowding around to see it, and you're like, oh yeah, that's a bad sprain, and then Leo comes and has a good peek at it as well, and I was like, this
It's an
is
inclusive
my
environment.
hell.
That's gone
Yeah.
full. We've accidentally made that into like full football changing room
Yeah.
situation. there.
yeah.
Go on then, pop yourself up on it.
Yeah, let's have a look. Get your trotters out.
Maybe we should change it to humbled in our gym.
Yeah, humbled in our
Yeah.
gym.
Or maybe
yeah.
we need to
Humbled in the
hire an
club.
intimacy
In the club.
intimacy coordinator for that situation.
Yeah, should we have asked the intimacy coordinator if you were happy to show your
to show feet.
outside
Well,
ankle and
yes.
The
foot?
good thing is though, now we can do that in a purpose-built treatment room
We can.
Yeah.
that we built in this new gym.
Thank fuck.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can get your feet out of the gym if you want to,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we'll assess injuries now in a purpose-built space.
Feet out with consent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all about the language you used, Dave. You should have just said, would you like to pull your...
She didn't say it was me. It could have been you.
Yeah, it's true.
I
it could've
forget.
been.
Both
I
of
forget.
us
I was
were,
so panicked
Both
by
of us
this
were accused. We're both
situation.
guilty.
Yeah, we're both guilty.
guilty.
yeah.
We'll share that
No,
responsibility.
I think I was training Leo. I should have just turned Leo away from you instead.
Anyway,
But that's a good one.
the bubble
That was
burst
good.
very quickly.
Yeah, but
How is the injury? We're over it now.
We're over it. Yeah, it's a bit clicky,
Mhm.
and I think it feels a bit loose. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ligaments feel a bit loose.
Well, that is literally when you sprain something to a certain extent, you cause damage in the
Yeah.
tissue. So it's then a case of actually, which we haven't had time to because your schedule has been
I had to
quite
be
manic
in
and you haven't been
heels
able
the
to come
next,
in
like 2 weeks
so often.
later for the premiere.
Yeah, so
I
it's
can't
like
wear a boot.
often trying to give people exercises that you can do and keeping on top of that stuff. But it's definitely something we should
Yeah.
and will address.
Yeah, it feels a lot. It's a lot better. I mean, that happened in May. But God, sprains. I've never had a sprain before. It takes ages.
sucks. Yeah,
How
especially on
is
your foot. 'Cause you're not never off your feet.
No,
How did it happen?
I walked across the street.
That was it.
I literally
yeah.
walked.
Didn't you
across-
text me as well, just like the day before, being like, George, I'm really embarrassed. I've just fallen over on the street on a curb.
Oh yeah, I remember
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I
You
fell.
proper stacked it.
I just walked. It was 1:30 in an unnamed street in
The
Shoreditch because I don't
daytime?
want people to look for the CCTV footage. Yeah, 1:30 p.m. I was going off to go and see a matinee, and I just walked off the curb. I didn't even have my earphones in, and just stacked it. Fell flat on my face because my shoe came off, and then I like popped back up, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And my tit was out, and then.
Hell, there's so many layers to
Yeah.
this.
So many layers.
What a
And
fall.
then I heard like an eruption of laughter behind me.
No.
And I was just like, oh my God, I was like, just walk it off. And I tried to walk, and I was like, oh, I can't walk. And then I was like, this really hurts. And then I went and sat on a bike rail and like looked and assessed the damage, and my ankle was just like out here already. I was like, I've broken. And then my knee was bleeding, and I was like, okay. I was literally 5-minute walk from home, but I was like, I can't. So I had to order an Uber, went back home. And then I'm 30 years old, but I still called my mum and I was like, and everyone just laughed.
Yeah, I was going to say, did anybody offer help? Because that's
No one
I don't
offered
know
help.
if it's a particularly
so
British
mean.
thing where people don't like to get involved in other people's stuff.
It
Whereas in
was-
other countries, someone would run over
Run
and.
straight over.
But here, you tend to just get like a whey,
I
and
know,
that's
I
it.
know.
And then other people feel bad about it, but no one actually does anything to help.
It made me feel so bad about humanity because it was like a spectacular fall. And yeah, and oh God, but there was just an eruption of laughter because it was a really lovely summer's day, so everyone was outside eating.
Yeah, probably had a few pints as well, hadn't they?
God.
But that is it's sad but true. It is kind of funny when people fall
It's
over.
hysterical. I would have done the same, but then I would like to think I would have been like, "Oh, are you all right?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially now after that experience,
Especially now I've been humbled.
you'd be there, offering a hand
Yeah.
straight away.
Yeah.
What's coming up for you in the near future? Will we be seeing you a bit more down the gym?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, definitely. Well, actually, no. I'm doing a job in Rome in January, Rome and Switzerland.
Cool.
It's called Switzerland. It's with Alden Ehrenreich and Helen Mirren. So that's
Amazing.
fun.
Has it been announced yet?
I think it's been announced. Yeah, it's been announced.
Yeah.
I think so.
Great.
Have you met Helen Mirren?
No.
Dame. Is she a dame?
I think she's
Yeah,
a
she
Dame
I
Helen.
thought so.
She has to be.
That's a big moment, meeting her, and that'd
Yeah.
be cool.
I don't know if I get to meet her though. I don't know if I have any scenes together.
You've also got The Girlfriend coming out soon.
Yeah, that was a lot of sexy scenes that I was training for.
Remember that?
Because again, vain, very vain. And then
Vain because you requested a load of sex scenes, or vain because you trained a lot for the sex scenes?
because I trained a lot for
in?
the sex
Right,
scenes
got
I
you.
would never request.
No, that's what I was thinking.
And then I start season 3 of House of the Dragon in end of March.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice kind of like lineup of stuff coming up that
Yeah.
you've got enough time to kind of chill out a little bit,
Yeah.
but also stuff to like sink your teeth into, keep you busy and everything.
Yeah, and I just did a thing that I can't talk about, which is quite exciting.
That
Where
sounds
you
really
ran around,
suspect.
where you ran around in a field getting chased.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, ran ragged.
No, for Stitch Back. I knew that was what you were talking about.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
'Cause I didn't want you to think that was being like purposely mysterious.
No. I knew it.
Well, thank you very much to Olivia for agreeing to come back on the podcast. I think it's safe to say we've had a great time and a
Perfect.
very informative chat there.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Thanks, Liv.
Thank you.
I was informed as well.